Chad Wright coming to you here once again on the channel, Team Righteous. And yes, I got my ugly hoodie back out from my old work. Then started getting cold again, and I don't like to be cold, so I had to break this old thing out. Anyways, we're back here at the shop. I know y'all been missing us. Been pretty busy, haven't been to the track as much. Been going to the track some, but just not really doing anything too much different than what we've normally been doing. So trying to get caught up around here. Got an 06, 07 Gixxer 750 here on the lift right now. Working on, as most people know, Stator and Rectifier. So just want to let y'all know, here's what happens with these bikes. What's super common with them. So I'm gonna come around here, try to change the camera using my phone, so if video looks a little bit different than normal, sorry about that. GoPro is out of commission for the moment. I've got to do some small repairs on it. It didn't get broke or anything. It's just a part that holds it together to be able to put it on my tripod is broke, so not be able to use that. But anyways, so this is not the factory rectifier, but this here mounts here, and then your stock rectifier mounts right here. So this was Suzuki's great idea, because they used to be mounted in the tail, and they didn't have room in the tail. So they said, well, where else can we put them at so they'll get wind and maybe quit burning up, because they kind of had issues with them before they even got to this bike. But what do we have here? This is your header. So the header has a lot of heat coming out of the motor, and it is the most heat that you can get to from the motor without actually sticking it inside of this chamber, of course. But anyway, so this is all the heat coming out of here. I guess their thought process behind this was, well, it'll be behind the radiator, and when the wind passes through it, it'll cool it off some or whatever. So, because it'll be at the front of the bike instead of the back of the bike. Well, the bad thing is this is hot air that comes through here, and this is hot air that comes out of here. So there's nothing but heat in here. So they were notorious for burning up whenever they in the 06 and 07 models on the 600s and the 750s, because they were mounted right here. Later models, the 1000s, stuff like that over there, they ended up putting them up in here right inside the fairings, so they caught the cool air coming through. And what we do is we really look at it right here. So instead of being up here in the front, it'll be mounted here on the side. But we're not going back with the stock style either. This is not stock. This is a Chinese replica. Somebody replaced this before the guy bought the bike, and it went bad. We'll get on that next. But anyways, we've got a bracket from Roadster Cycles that's going to mount it here, and then haven't got it out of the package yet, but we have this rectifier, which is a MOSFET rectifier, which is much better than the stock style that comes on the Suzukis. So the MOSFET rectifiers, whenever they go bad, they don't cause the problems that we ran into with this bike when this other style here goes bad. So everybody knows that they go bad. Well, that's one of the reasons why they go bad. So when those go bad, they also are hard on the stator, because the stator has to work harder because of it, and that's what causes the stator to go bad. So when a rectifier goes bad, it causes the stator to have to put out more voltage, and then it leads to other problems. So when it starts putting out more voltage, then it starts causing problems with heat inside the rectifier. The rectifier goes bad, and then it either undercharges, which is what causes your battery to go dead. It's generally whenever your stator goes bad. But when the rectifier goes bad, instead of the stator going bad, the rectifier overcharges the system. Not always, but 90% of the time it does. So whenever the rectifier goes bad, it stops changing it from AC current, which is coming out of your stator. It puts out like 65 to 75 volts of AC current, and it regulates that down to a usable voltage of like 14 volts, and it also converts it to DC voltage, which is what every vehicle out there runs on. So here's your stator. We're going to replace it too. We're going to put a Rick Stator in here. Generally we do run Rick Stators and rectifiers, but with these bikes right here, even my own personal bike, whenever I had two different ones, I had a 600 and a 750, I done the same thing. I had a MOSFET rectifier and mounted them on the side here, because it's a known problem with these right here. But Always run a Stator Rix rectifier on everything else except for these right here, just because these guys right here make the bracket and everything that comes with it, the wiring and all this stuff right here, and it's got a relay in it. It's got a breaker in it to prevent the incident that happened here. So anyways, Stator's here, creates AC current from the generator. It runs up to the rectifier. The rectifier converts it down to a usable 14 volts in that area. Sometimes it's 13.8, sometimes it's 14.3. It's in that area. And then it goes from there back into your charging system here. So it plugs into here, runs through the wiring harness, and actually goes into your starter solenoid, which is here. So it goes into here and then charges the battery. So that's the way they do it from the factory. So what happened here was, I'm guessing Stator rectifier goes bad. They replace it because they didn't want to spend the money. Whoever owned it before didn't want to spend the money to buy the good quality parts, either OEM or Rix or anything else. They ended up just probably buying something off of eBay or Amazon. And they're known, their electrical components are just not very good quality. So whenever the rectifier went bad, you've got 65 to 75 volts coming out of here, and it's AC current, which the bike is not made to be able to take it all. And it comes through here, and the rectifier stops doing its job. The rectifier stops doing its job. Now it's letting too much voltage come through here, and it overcharged his battery. He's got a new battery in there already. He knew the battery was a problem. That didn't fix his issue though. So when it overcharged the battery, he didn't know that it was happening while he was riding, so it overcharged the battery. The battery swole up from being overcharged, and once the battery melts, it's got to find somewhere else to go. Voltage inside an electrical system has got to have somewhere to go. So once it gets done melting this and shorting it out and burning it up, it's got to go somewhere else. The next thing that it goes to, ECU. The ECU got burned up on this bike. It also messed up the charging harness here, so we're going to eliminate this part here. This right here won't be an issue, and we're going to run the charging harness. So this thing right here comes with a new harness and everything to be able to plug into it, and it comes with this breaker here. The breaker here is in case it overcharges. So if it ever overcharges it and puts out more voltage or more amperage than what it's supposed to have going through it, this breaker right here is going to kick, and it's going to prevent this right here from ever happening again. So anyways, we're going to get on this. I'm about to throw the rectifier on now, and then when the Stator comes in, we'll get it replaced as well. I'll probably show that to y'all once we get it on there and get it done. Not going to show you how to replace a Stator. One thing I will clue you in on though is in here, these are a known problem because a lot of people, when they order a Stator, it doesn't come with a gasket. You have to pick it out whenever you're ordering stuff, even from Rix. When you order a Stator, you have to order a gasket with it. If you don't order a gasket, it's going to cause a problem. So pull these 3 screws out here, and then the starter drive, there's your starter. The starter drive is all in here. You're going to pull that out, and then you're going to pull this cover off and pull it out. Back there is a gasket. If you don't replace that gasket and you just put like gasket sealer in there, well, gasket sealer is going to still let it be flat. It's not going to let it space out any. This right here has to be spaced out precisely the exact amount that it's supposed to be spaced out. If not, the bike will not start. I've seen it numerous times. I've had to fix it from either people not putting gaskets on them or from people losing washers out of them, having to put washers back in there to space them like they're supposed to be. It will literally be a washer that is, I can't even show you how thin it is, but super, super thin. And that washer will be missing. And I can put that washer back in here and it'll free the motor up. Like, it's that precise of how exact it's got to be. So anyways, this right here will all bind up and keep the motor from spinning over. But anyways, we're going to jump on this right here, get the rectifier run. When the ECU comes in or Stator comes in, we'll get those put on there as well. And then we'll show you everything once it's completed and back up and going, and probably show you how to check the charging system as well. All right, y'all, so we're back here at 57 Motorsports, getting ready to put this Stator in here. Like I said, I don't have my GoPro fixed. I probably need to get that fixed so I can be able to show you probably a little bit more from here. but it's like I said, there's a lot of videos out there about how to replace the stator in these bikes, so there's not really a point of me showing you that. Just want to tell you one thing though to be careful with. So whenever you go to pull this rear apart, you gotta pull these 3 bolts out here. There is gears in here, and this is spring loaded, so as soon as you pull this cover here, it's all going to spring out, fall out, and go everywhere. You'll lose washers and everything, so be super careful with that. And then, like I said before, you want to be sure to use a gasket. Have to use a gasket or your motor's going to be seized up and it will not start. So anyways, we're going to get this stator here replaced, and got some more parts that are still on the way. They should have been here a couple of days ago. They've been a little slow, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Anyways, we're going to get this stator thrown in, and then we'll get her back together and running, and we'll show you the finished results. All right, here we go. Finishing up here. This thing got cold again, so I had to put this thing right here back on. But anyways, we got the Gixxer 750 here finished up. We actually had to wait on some more parts to come in. The customer, like I said, bought it from somebody who worked on it before, and when they put the stator in there before, they had left the spring washer out whenever they put it back together, so we had to wait on that part there to come in. But we got that part in now, and we got it back together. So anyways, got everything back together, got everything buttoned up. Like I said, there's your rectifier there, so it can get better cooling. Got the stator in there, and we're going to show you how to test the charging system. So you can see right now, battery's got 12 volts. We're going to start this thing up, and we're going to rev it up to see if we're getting the proper voltage out of the charging system before we give it back to the customer. So there we go. This bike's kind of loud a little bit, so I'm going to try to talk to the camera here from the backside while I'm recording. But anyways, got it running here. It's actually already putting out plenty of voltage here. So we're looking for anywhere around 13.8 volts charging. Like I said, you just hook it up to your battery here with your voltmeter, put it on 12 volts, see how many voltage the charging system is putting out. And as you can see, we're already at 14.3 volts. And there you have it. So as you can see, we're still getting 14.3 volts. It's not varying any as we come up in the RPM, so it's not dropping off any. The regulator's doing its job just like it's supposed to. So these regulators, like I said before, they're great regulators, rectifiers, to be able to make sure you don't run into the issue again. And then we put in that new wiring there as well with the breaker here, so that way if it runs into the issue again, it will trip this breaker here so it doesn't have that issue. So anyways, we appreciate all of y'all. If y'all got any questions, drop down below. We'll answer your questions any way we can about your stator and rectifier. Please like the video, subscribe, share it out to all your friends, and we'll see y'all on the next one.